Hi everybody, welcome back to this week's My Weekly Rage Fix. This is actually a Purim edition, just to talk about our very bad enemy, Haman, who is the arch villain in the Purim story. So the Talmud, the Gemara asks, where do we find a hint to Haman in the Torah? So the Gemara answers, the verse says, Hamina eitz asher amarti lechem lo yiseichlu achlu. Is it from the tree that I told you not to eat, did you eat from? And that verse was written by, it was a verse that was stated to Adam. And Adam and Eve obviously were not able to eat from the tree of knowledge. They were able to eat from every other tree but that one. And when they had eaten from it, death set in and they needed clothes and they became aware more of their physical than of their spiritual selves. And so Hashem said, the one tree that I asked you to eat from, is that the one that you ate from? You weren't supposed to eat from that one. So the question is, what does this have to do with Haman? So what this has to do is, our sages teach us, is that Haman had everything. He had everything. He was an incredibly wealthy person, at a very high position. He had a huge family. He had everything that he needed. But it wasn't enough for him. He needed to have more. He needed to have every single person bow down to him. And there was one person, Mordechai, who refused to bow down to him because he was wearing an idol. He had an idol dangling from his neck. And the connection to Adam and Eve was that they also had everything. They had every single thing that they could want. They could eat from every type of tree except one. And that one tree that they were not supposed to eat from, that was the one that they had to have from. And Hashem said, that one you had to have as well. I gave you everything else. So Haman, in his wickedness, still felt that everything that he had wasn't enough. He needed that Mordechai should bow down to him. But that ended up being his undoing. Because of that urge to have every single thing should be obtainable to him, so he made that decree that all Jews should get killed. And as you probably all know the story by now, the tables were turned on Haman, and the gallows that he had built for Mordechai, he ended up swinging from. Why? Because he wasn't satisfied with what he had. Now, this is not just a little tidbit, not be satisfied with what we have, because when we're talking about Haman, he really had everything. But he was so egotistical, and he was so power hungry and money hungry, that he can never satisfy himself, and that's a wickedness. And our sages tell us that's a wickedness. And that's one of the ways that Haman himself was a very wicked person, because he wasn't satisfied himself. So wasn't satisfied with everything that he had. Just to change gears a little bit, and I may have mentioned this last year, Achashvarosh himself was also a wicked person. And the reason Achashvarosh, who was the king, the reason why he was wicked, is because everything that he did, whether even though it seemed good, seemed bad, everything he did was for his own sake, his own glory. The fact that he gave his queen all of Haman's possessions and his house and his household and everything to her was not because he was some nice guy who wanted to give it to her, but he was in that situation where his wife, his queen, needed to even be more grandeur, and she has more grandeur to her. Who benefits from that? So Achashvarosh himself benefits for that. So, and our sages teach us that Achashvarosh was wicked from beginning to end. So therefore, even though he gave and did a nice thing for Esther, his queen, but nevertheless our sages still say that that's a wickedness. Why? Because he didn't give Esther stuff because he felt intrinsically there's a reason to be good and to give. No, he felt it was all about him, and anything that can just raise his honor and his glory and his dignity, that's the only thing that interested him, but not because he was good for the sake of being good. So these two wicked people, Achashvarosh and Haman, are two people that we have to learn lessons from, how not to be, how to be happy with what we have, and not to be power hungry or money hungry or ego hungry, and also how to be a good person, not because situationally it's called for, but rather because internally, inside, you know that you should be a good person, and you know what it means to be good, and you know what it means to be bad. I wish everybody a Purim Sameach, a happy Purim, a healthy Purim, and a safe Purim. And I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.